I love sales. I love sales because it's predicated on your work ethic. It's predicated on like what you can do, not anybody else, not corporate America telling you this, that, kiss somebody's butt to go, climb the ladder. It's based off your performance. And that's what I'm about. You work hard, you get paid a lot.
Hello, everybody. Grady Polson here, the America Agency. Beyond excited to have our special guest on today, Miss Desiree Blas, joining us from Tacoma, Washington. Des is a multi-million-dollar real estate professional and has done real estate for half a decade at a very high successful level, and has seen the changes in the market, seen what's happening with real estate commissions and the volatility. Obviously, rising interest rates have plummeted real estate transactions. And instead of putting her hand out or going and doing something that she didn't want to do and not taking charge of her future, she's been building on the side, which I would kind of say, but now full force, full throttle, a life insurance agency, and selling and producing at a very high level. She sells life insurance, IULs, and annuities. Best month this year so far is over 60,000 issue paid, 60 families protected. Her agency does over $1 million a year right now, 150,000 on track to $200,000 a month. And just all around great person, good spirit, always joy, lights up the room. But on top of that, she is focused intently on building this business and protecting families. And so she's recently transitioned from doing life insurance in home and is now full time virtual, which is kind of the way of the future. Which is we're seeing it just gets speed of the lead, but at the same standpoint, there's a learning curve. So Des said, "I'm going to figure it out." She's figured it out, and then she's producing at a crazy high level. So I can be more excited. It's a long time coming, and just great to have her on here. You're going to love her more than I as much. Probably can't more than you can't love her more than I do, but you're going to love her probably as much as I do by the end of this call. So. But one thing you want to do, get your pen ready, get your notepad ready, because Des doesn't hold back. So without further ado, Miss Desiree Blas, how are you doing today, Miss?
I'm so excited. And Grady, I was telling you earlier, these calls are what did it for me as a new agent. I think I wanted to quit 40 different times, and I would be driving in home to my next appointment, pop on a podcast, pop on a live call, and that gave me that extra push to believe in myself is here. So this is so important for everybody that's on here. Like kudos to you because you're only going to get better by putting yourself in this position.
Amen. Amen. So, well, give us the. So I gave the Cliff Notes, abridged notes, Spark Notes. I think that's what the kids call them. Your background, but what is your background? I know you were in real estate. You live in Washington, and then you got into insurance, dabbled. I remember talking. You're like, oh, I'm still doing some house stuff, and now with the change in that industry, as we talked, you're full force insurance. So kind of, but back up. Like, who is Des? I want him to know who you are. So
Yeah. So college dropout. Well, actually, I don't even know if it's dropped out. I got accepted to a nursing program and it was a private school. And I was at this crossroads of like, nursing's like great. Everyone keeps telling me to pursue nursing. I got accepted. I would be in six figures of debt and then work 12-hour shifts, work holidays, like argue for who's going to work what holiday, work every other weekend. And I'm such a family person that I didn't like that schedule already. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? So I didn't pursue the nursing career that I thought I wanted to do, and I got into sales. So I found real estate. Real estate, I think commission-based sales is awesome because, like most people know, commission-based sales is the highest paid occupation in America. But when I started, I did not know that you had to like build your book of business. I also didn't know as a first-time real estate agent, my compensation was at 50%. So I sold my first home and I was like, where's the rest of the commission? They're like, oh yeah, you're a first year agent. And like, I didn't know what to ask. It took me 7 months to sell my first home. I was door knocking, random neighborhoods, putting flyers in coffee shops and Starbucks. I was cold calling people, getting yelled at. And so it took me a very long time to sell my first home. And even then I was at a 50% compensation. So whenever I do talk to somebody, I'm like, hey, if you're interviewing with any commission company, it's real estate, solar, whatever, ask them what your compensation is going to be at because you might be at 30%, you might be at 50%. Here, we're super transparent. We start you at 80%. You could go all the way up to 145%. So I got into the real estate industry. I was just like everyone knows, it's market dependent. It goes up and down with the market. Look what happened in 08. I guess I didn't really know that. I was already like a hard worker. I was determined. I didn't know that my income was predicated on that until I sold 5 homes one year, which was a lot of, or not one year, 1 month. So that was a lot of commission 1 month. I did not make money the rest of the year. I was like scrambling living at my parents' house. I was like, this is not sustainable. I don't know what to do. I don't want my income to be predicated on a market. Like if we look at what's happening with election year, like a lot of people who have money invested in the market, they're freaking out. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And then lo and behold, during a very, very like low month, I saw something posted on Instagram by somebody that I know. So shout out to Diego. All he did on his Instagram story was repost somebody else's post. And me being at like that desperate time, I slid up and I said, what's this? And then it led to a conversation. And then he described the industry. And I was like, dude, it sounds easier than real estate I'm in. And I was very much blinders on. Don't talk to me about recruiting. I just want to learn how to sell insurance so I could get out of my parents' house. Like that was my initial goal. I was like, I just want to make income for myself. And then my first year, I was so part-time with insurance. I was so in and out, like halfway in, halfway out. I loved real estate and I thought that's what I wanted to do. And then it wasn't until my first convention. My first convention that I went to, I was maybe 1 month into selling insurance. So I was barely selling insurance, to be honest. And I went to this convention, and the people that were saying stuff on stage really made me believe that I could do it too. And it wasn't a skill set, or not, sorry, it wasn't talent. It was a skill set that had to be developed. So I went there and I was like, yo, I'm in this thing, right? But I was still transitioning out of real estate. And I mean, that's kind of like my story in a nutshell. I love sales. I love sales because it's predicated on your work ethic. It's predicated on like what you can do, not anybody else, not corporate America telling you this, that, kiss somebody's butt to go, climb the ladder. It's based off your performance. And that's what I'm about. You work hard, you get paid a lot.
Love it. So are you still living home with mom and dad?
No, no. They wanted me to stay, and I was like, gotta get out of here. So,
On Friday, on Sundays for your family dinner. But
oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
that's awesome. So okay, so you got into real estate. So far, what happened that month? I mean, so hold on. Part of your story was, if anyone caught it, she went 7 months without making her first sale. 7 months calling, cold calling, calling for sale by owners, door knocking,
Mhm.
calling expired listings, just getting chewed out by anybody that was trying to sell real estate, and then her trying to come back in and try to solve a problem that couldn't be solved by someone else who supposedly has the same title as her. What did you do in those 7 months that then catapulted you to 5 sales in a month?
Oh, I mean, I was kind of doing what I'm doing now, although like in retrospect, I wasn't sure that I was doing it. I would just like hop on trainings. I would ask questions. I didn't want to knock on a random door, but I did it. Like I knew I had to do something different to get out of the situation that I was in. And I was willing to kind of endure that because I wasn't happy with where I was. So a lot of people, like if you guys are unhappy with where you are, you have to start doing things that are different than what you're currently doing. Like neuroscience states that we have 60,000 thoughts in a day. And of the 60,000 thoughts, 95% are the same thoughts you had yesterday, and 80% of them are going to be negative. So like you constantly have to battle what's naturally in our like human nature to think negatively to also stay comfortable. So I just kind of knew I was like, well, I have to keep doing things that I don't want to do in order to get to a different level. And then I would just kind of like climb that caliber every time. So I'd like punch above a different weight class. And in retrospect, it was like super hard. I wanted to quit a lot, but I didn't want to go back to like a boss. I didn't want to ask somebody for time off. I just wanted to make as much as I thought like I was worth. So that for me, it was like bite-sized pieces. I think it was like a little checkpoint to another checkpoint. And I just kept wanting to learn, asking people who are more successful than me, hey, well, how do you handle this? How do you write this contract? And so that's what I did in real estate. And that's the same thing you get to do here.
Yeah. How long have you been into fitness and exercise?
Um, uh, Almost 10 years. I did like boxing amateurly outside of high school, and then I got into just like normal weightlifting, or not weightlifting, I guess like just normal lifting, and then powerlifting, and then now I love CrossFit. Like CrossFit, I don't know if anyone's familiar with CrossFit, but go ahead.
Well, so it's almost like parallels in business, right? Like you did one,
Yeah.
you're trying. I made $30, or I made 30 door knocks, and I'm overhead squatting 65 pounds, right? Well, today I'm going to go for 67 pounds, and then I'm going to try some reverse lunges, and then okay, now I'm going to try direct mail. And like you have, it's in you, but it's in successful people that you're seeking the challenge, and then you're trying to one up yourself because the competition is with yourself. It's that classic, image of you versus you, right? That is it. Like, because if you're in real estate or you're also now, we're going to get into your insurance story, but you see other people having success and you look at them and you go, I don't know how they tie their shoes sometimes, but they're making how much money right now? And then you go, okay, well, if that person can do it, it's just a matter of time and the lack of information that I have today that's keeping me from getting the results that they have. So I love
Absolutely.
that you just keep chipping away. So shout out to Diego. Love Diego for being active and promoting the positive lifestyle which he's built for himself and his family. And then you see it and you go, okay, this is something I'm interested. So let's talk about that first kind of month, 3 months. You went to convention, which is, almost like the cheat code for this business. If you go to convention at any time in the first year, it's it's like, okay, this is very real. It is not just a couple videos on YouTube or a PDF someone sent me or a random website. So talk about the kind of that what happened coming out of convention.
Yeah, I feel like so even prior to that, I was doing so many different things. Like I was doing real estate, also like a fitness coach on the side, and then I was like learning insurance. And so now I know, like, and I tell this to people, like diluted focus yields diluted results. You want to be like honed in, right? So in retrospect, like Diego was super patient with me. He was like, hey, I would coach a 5 a.m. class, maybe have like 4 hours of sleep, roll into, we were dialing out of an apartment. Shout out to his brother for letting us use his apartment, literally. And he was like teaching me the script, or he was teaching me something, and I'm like sleep deprived, but I'm still trying to get after it. So honestly, it was kind of challenging in the beginning. I was just like, cool. I'd call people. I didn't have a script when I was in real estate, by the way. I just kind of like winged it. So, and now we have so much great training. It's like, hey, let's focus on your tone. Let's focus on this intro. Let me throw rebuttals at you. And before, I just kind of had to wing it, and I ate a lot of crap. So in the beginning, I didn't really track my numbers. I didn't track my dials. I didn't track how much I spent on leads. I don't even think I bought leads like originally. He gave me a bunch of his old leads and I was just getting slapped in the face. So it felt like a whirlwind of I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I know like my personality style, or my I guess like my personality style is more assertive. I'm like a red in that personality test. I forget which one that's called. I'm the type of person that, and Sean Mike says this a lot. It's like run fast, break shit. That is my motto. I can't, if I overanalyze something, I don't move. So I would just like tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it. Tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it. Okay, cool. Knock on this door. It's kind of scary. I'm gonna knock on the door. So like I knew in myself, like if, and it's one of those things that if the pool's cold and I dip my toe in it, I'm not going to jump in. Someone has to like push me in, or I have to jump in. So like I know that about myself, and I would also encourage you guys to identify, what are you? Are you like an assertive type? Are you more of an accommodator? Are you more of a analyst? There's like 3 different personality types. I love psychology. I didn't get a degree in it, but I like listen to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of books. And so you have to kind of know like yourself as a person and your learning style, and then also the people that you're around. But in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. And the first year I ate a lot of crap, and I don't know how, but I still made like 6 figures part-time my first year. And I like endured a lot of chargebacks. I endured a lot of like no shows a lot, because I was just primarily in home, and I would go to the home and then someone would say no, and I thought I sucked. So in the beginning, it was hard for me because I was very like, I guess, emotionally based. I was like, man, I suck. This isn't for me. But if someone just told me in the beginning, like, hey, you're gonna get no showed like 50% of the time, people are gonna tell you no. You're gonna get more no's than yeses, but guess what? Your yes is worth $1,000. So that's what I say when I interview people. I was like, hey, you're gonna have to endure a lot of crap. Like this is all rejection based. Sales is just rejection, rejection, rejection. So your ability to endure rejection is key. I don't expect people to have thick skin when they get in here, but I'm like, it's a muscle that needs to be developed. You're gonna get hung up on so many times. So I'll ask somebody, hey, if you're on the phone, let's say it's your first dial day, 8 hours, you're dialing, everyone says no, they hang up on you, people tell you to go to hell and put like they're gonna sue you, all this stuff. Are you gonna show up tomorrow with the same energy and effort? I'll ask them that, and they'll say yes. And now I have permission to challenge them when they want to quit after 2 weeks. So, and I'm super picky with who we like bring on the team. Very, very picky about that with like negative energy and stuff. Like we're in a rejection based business, or sales is just all rejection. So if there's any like negative energy, and I tell that to the person up front, like I don't want it. It's toxic. We're already dealing with people yelling at us. Like we just want people who don't complain and they have a positive attitude and a very hard work ethic. And you have to be super coachable. And that's what I tell people when I hire them. And I know we're like transitioning in and out, but it's just 3 things. If you're listening on this call And you have these three things. You have a hard work ethic, so you could outwork everybody in the room. Number two, you have a positive attitude. So that just means if, like, I don't know, you get a flat tire, you're not going to come complaining to the whole office about your flat tire. And then number three, if you're coachable, with those three things, you will be massively successful here. And when I say coachable, and I tell this to people too, Grady, I'm like, hey, dude, this is what I mean by coachable. If I'm like, hey, here's 100 leads, you have to dial through them 3 times, and here's the script. And you're like, why do we have to do 3 times? Like, why do I have to read this script? I do not want to work with you, like, respectfully. I have like 15 other people that I'm helping. I'd rather give my time and energy and effort to people who are coachable. And normally, someone being coachable is the most important thing to me. But like, if you have those three things, guys, you are set. Trust me.
Most skeptic people are usually the most broke.
Yeah. And they blame other people. Yeah.
So, you're talking about resilience and all these things. It's like when you're on the phone booking an appointment and it's your last call of the night and it's 8:59 and they answer and they go, oh yeah, I can meet. I've been waiting for you to call. You're like, perfect. Okay, Betty, what time can you meet? I can meet tomorrow morning. Oh, perfect. I'm getting an appointment tomorrow morning. Okay, what time? I got 8:15 or 8:45. I'll take the 8:15. Then you're looking at the address and it's an hour and a half from your house. You're like, oh my God. Okay, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow at 8:15. You're gonna be there tomorrow at 15? Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow. Okay, perfect, Betty. I'm coming from across town. I'll be there 8:15 tomorrow. Get up, get your day going, leave the house. You're there 8:12. There's no car in the carport. Oh God, where Betty? Where you're calling Betty, texting Betty. Betty's not responding. That could knock down most people. But the
Yep.
reality though is Betty's got to come home. So you go run your other rest of your appointments, come back around, you show back up at 3 o'clock, and you show up at 3 o'clock and you go, hey Betty, so sorry I missed you this morning at 8:15. I had an early appointment that called me before yours and it went long, but I was able to show back up right now. And she goes, oh, yeah, no problem. Sit down and close the policy, right? So do you have an attitude like Des is describing where you're solution oriented, you're pushing through, and that's who you are, that's who you want to work around, that's the attitude.
Right.
Wanted outcomes because we find that on the third dial, by that time, someone calls you times they pick up. Well, that seems annoying. Okay, well, perfect. Stay broke. I mean, like I can't
Yeah.
make you want. This is what we found is successful after a decade of doing this business. Because
Right.
you're not calling to bother them. They fill out a request and they're requiring us to call them back, right? We're just trying to do our job. So let's pivot. Let's go. You want anything?
Brady, I was going to say one thing about that. So when you're talking about they filled in this request, this is like so important. It's the psychology behind the lead. You have to wear this professional hat. Like I am the financial professional that's going to respond to this request. So what our agency does right now, we do mainly aged mortgage or aged leads. And within aged leads, you have to remember these people filled this out months ago. So don't be scared to call somebody when they say, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. I'm not interested. You're wearing this professional hat of like, your tone has to be concerned. You're like, oh, wait, did you get this information, Grady? And then like people are like, stop trying to sell me anything. Hey, I'm really not trying to sell you anything. We're just calling about the request you made. It looks like your address is 123 Main Street. Is that you? And your tone's changing. You're sounding like a detective. You're concerned. Grady, did any underwriter go over this with you? Wow, it's been such a long time. Let me get this fixed for you. So like you're sounding like that. And also, so I had an agent recently. So like if anyone's listening, you're brand new to dialing, you're gonna call people, they're gonna tell you to screw off and they're gonna sue you or whatever. Like stop trying to sell me stuff. And then we had a recent agent call somebody from like an age lead from like a year ago. And he answers the phone. Maybe it wasn't even a year ago, it was less than a year. He answers the phone. And the agent's calling him and saying, hey, we're calling for you and Mary. And he's like, my wife died, you're too late. Like, why didn't you call sooner? So you're going to get different leads. But if you just have the mindset that I'm here to help somebody, and this is what I help people too. I try to gamify things, right? If I have 100 leads, I'm just putting them into a yes, into a no bucket. I know my no is going to be higher than my yeses, but like, let's not be neutral or like you're uncertain of what the lead is. Like, I just want John to tell me he's not interested 3 times in a row. I put him in a no bucket. In a no bucket. That's fine. Let's move on. Let's move on to the yes bucket and get more leads. And so you just have the stack of leads. Yes, no, yes, no. If you want to gamify it, count your no's because you're always going to have more no's than yeses. And so I just wanted to point out it's really important that the lead is an actual person who requested the information. His wife died. Had somebody called him when they should have called him, we would have protected him. He doesn't want anything to do with us now. He's really upset. His wife died. Like, I can't imagine what he's going through. We'll circle back to him maybe in another year to know that he actually still needs it. But other than that, you get different things. And I think that's super powerful just to remember no matter what, you're the professional.